Okay, tonight I've got three things to talk about. First is a new function to the Apple Maps where they have hiking trails. The next one is adding a widget on your phone to set your reminders. And the third one is something we all probably need sometime or another, how to scan a document with your iPhone. So let me share my phone. Once I get finished with this, I'll give you a handout with all the details. I like to give that at the end so you can't be reading it while I'm doing it because so you'll pay attention. So anyway, let me share my screen. Okay. In Zoom's infinite wisdom, they went and changed a bunch of their screens, which just keeps me thrown off completely. First thing I'm going to do is go to my maps. Can you see me, Brookie?
Yes.
Okay. On on maps, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you want to go on some hikes in in your area, for example, you could type in Lexington, it would show you hiking trails. Or if you go to any of the national parks, then they will show you a lot of trails too. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just type in Mammoth Cave. And there it is, Mammoth Cave National Park. And once I'm here, you can see the landscape there with Mammoth Cave. But if you take your finger and scroll up, like I'm doing here, it'll tell you some more information about the area. And if you keep on scrolling, you'll find surrounding information. And down here near the bottom, you can see where it says hikes. Now I'm going to scroll over here. This is 1.2 miles, 0.5, 2 miles. Anyway, there's a variety of different hikes. So I'm going to tap on one. And it shows me on the map how that trail operates. It shows me how long it would take to walk it, 121 feet of elevation and about 400 feet of drop. So you can add this to your library so you can find it easily. And once you're ready, if I hit on directions now, it's going to take me from my home to the Mammoth Cave trailhead. And then once I get there, it can give me some more information about using maps. So if you're a hiker or just want to see what's going on around you, then you can type in whatever you would like there, whatever city, whatever place, and gather a whole bunch of information. Okay, so that's really one you need to, if you want to use it, need to get out and try it and see how it works. If you want to do it here in Lexington, let me just do Lexington, see what it says here. Lexington, Kentucky. There we are, new circle and all. Let's go on down here.
Hmm.
Interesting. Um, things don't always work like they're supposed to. I'm going to do it a different way. I'm just going to put in, cancel that. To Lexington, I'm going to put hiking. And see, we get here hiking trails nearby. I'm going to tap on that. And then we'll see here, you can see the Legacy Trail, Liberty Park Trail, and several other different events down through there. So you can tap on one of those, Legacy Trail, and it'll give you information about that. But bring this up to size, you can see the Legacy Trail there. So it's a pretty neat tool if you want to do some hiking and see some of the outdoors. Okay. Any questions on that before I move on? Next thing is reminders. I frequently put stuff in reminders and then immediately forget about it. So even though I put it in reminders, it doesn't do me a whole lot of good. So one thing I found was a kind of a neat way to handle that is I'm going to make a widget. And you know what a widget is? It's this big thing right here. And you can have several widgets nested, which means they're on top of one another. So anyway, how do we do this? The first thing in order to put a widget there is we got to make our apps wiggle. In order to make them wiggle, you long press on any of the blank areas on your screen. And you can see how mine are wiggling. When they wiggle, you can delete them, you can move them around, and so forth. But right now, I just want to add something else. So I'm going to go up here to where it says Edit and tap on Edit. And then it gives me an option. And I'm just going to add a widget and go down through here. And you can see all the different widgets that are available. And look down through here. All these different apps will allow you to have a widget. Here's reminders. Now, you see the reminders here, and down here, 3 dots. If you look at those 3 dots, if I slide over, I can get a bigger widget, or if I slide over more, I can get an even bigger widget. So you can choose whichever one of those that you would like to have on your home screen. Now, if you're going to nest them, they all have to be the same size. So I'm going to go back here to this one, which is the same size as the one I've already got. And I'm going to say add the widget. And you notice it popped up here and move things around here, but I want to make it a nest. So I'm just going to grab it here. Oops, I'm grabbing the wrong one. Grab it here and move it over on top of this. And now that I'm done, I will tap on done at the top. And so done again. And now there's my reminders. There's my calendar. And there's the weather. So I've got those 3 things I use a lot. And they're big enough that I can see them without having to squint too bad. So anyway, that's a quick way on how to add a widget. Any other questions on that?
So I have a question. When I scroll down, it didn't give me reminders as a choice. And then I tried to search for it and it said no results. But maybe I was doing the wrong thing.
It said what?
It said no results for reminders.
Okay, somewhere along the line, that's probably been deleted, and you'd have to go back into the App Store and find it
Okay.
again.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else on that? Okay, the next one is really handy. A lot of people don't have printers anymore. They just don't feel they need them, or they don't know how to use them. But anyway, frequently you want to have a scanned document. You got a paper, a will, a receipt, or something that you'd like to get scanned. And you can do that right from your phone. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to scan the handout that I'm going to be passing out here in a few minutes. In order to do that, and you can do it with me, see my notes app here? Let me explain something before we get into it. A long press. I want to make sure everybody understands what a long press is. A lot of times we just tap on an app and it'll open up. If we long press on it, it gives us some different options. And that means putting your finger on it and just kind of pushing it for a couple seconds. So watch my screen here as I do a long press on notes. See all the different options I get? And you can do this on any app. You'll get other options without having to open it up. Now, so I get down here and I see scan document. And I'm going to click on that. And now it's getting ready for me to scan a document. So I'm going to hold this over my document here. And you notice that you see that blink? It captured that without me doing anything. And once I'm ready, I'm going to say save. And there's my scanned document. Actually, I just did it twice. And the next thing I want to do is share it. And I'm going to share it to files. You got a folder on your phone that's called files. So I'm going to save it to files. And then I'm going to tap save again. And now let me just show you how this is. Now, where's my files app? Remember how to search. F, okay, there it pops up. And here is what I just scanned. So this is a document, it's a PDF, and you can print that out, just whatever you want to do with it. Okay, and I'll send that to you all in a minute. Questions on that? I think the handout's pretty explicit on how to do it, but I found that useful. Sometimes if my printer's not working or something, I can just go ahead and scan it to my phone. Or if I'm over at CKCS and need a document, I just get a scan of it there. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and share the, okay, where'd it go? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. And now I'm going to go ahead and send that to everybody.
So in your chats, under that icon, you'll have several handouts from Kurt. You'll have one handout from me, and Joe is going to add it to the list. So you can go ahead and download those.
Okay, it's playing games with me. Okay, it should be showing up on your screen saying 2024-11-19. And that's a little bit of what I talked about tonight, hiking, setting reminders as a widget, and scanning a document with your phone.
Did you hit enter?
No. Enter. And now you should find it in your chat box, and you can click on that to download it.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Any questions for Joe before we move on to Kurt?
If you have any trouble with any of that thing, just send me an email and I'll send it to you again.
Okay. All right, Kurt, it's yours.
Okay. Apple is slowly rolling out what they call Apple Intelligence, which is their version of artificial intelligence. They're rolling it out on all of their devices. They're doing it slowly. It's been in what they call beta, which basically means not yet ready for prime time since early summer. And the incarnation on all of the devices is at the early stage, so don't expect a whole lot. In early to mid-December, iOS, iPad OS 18.2 is supposed to come out, and Mac OS 15.2 Sequoia is supposed to come out. And that is supposed to contain more Apple Intelligence, more stuff. And basically, what will eventually happen, and it's happening slowly right now all over the world, is that things will happen with voice commands, one-click will replace 5 clicks.
Hmm.
You'll be able to sharpen photos and do all kinds of things with photos that you normally do with Paint Shop Pro, Photoshop, Pixelmator, dozens of photo apps. And it's slowly being rolled out. It's being used in the automotive world, the aviation world, and they're taking it slowly. And Apple does say that don't expect it to be perfect, and it's not full featured. And I've been experimenting a little bit with it, and I am impressed. And they use Chat GPT as the version that Apple has chosen. That's the same company that was demonstrated at CKCS last summer. It's one of the most popular versions of AI. There are different versions. AI is basically runs everything from getting into an elevator, telling it by voice command in 16 different languages, you want to go to floor 20. The elevator will go to floor 20. You don't punch anything. In surgery on animals and humans, the doctor and the nurses will be able to talk to devices, and they will automatically use robots, which they're using now, to put in sutures or whatever close the wound or close the surgery point. All those things are coming together. They're also being introduced in planes, cars, not necessarily self-drive stuff, but it's really neat what they're doing. And it's, grandkids that aren't even with us today, they're not born yet, will really benefit from AI. But this is what Apple is doing. Let me share my screen with you. I apologize for all the junk on my screen. Just ignore it. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you see a forest with light streaming through?
Yes.
Do you feel like you're in Northern California? Sorry, that's okay. Here's my desktop. I go up to the menu bar up over here to the Apple menu. It could be white, it could be black. It's up here in the far left hand of your menu bar. I click on it, and if you're running Mac OS 15.1, any version of it, there was an update today, a security update. But if you're I'm running, let me click on About This Mac. I am running Sequoia 15.1.1, which just came out today. It's a security update. All the iPhones, the newer iPhones, the iPads, they all have updates. So I'm going to close this, but if I go to my Apple up here, Apple menu, come down to System Settings, there's something new in the little vertical list, and it's called Apple Intelligence and Siri. That's where they've placed it. So you have to physically turn it on. As it first came out, you had to be on a wait list to be able to use it. But if you click on this, here it is up here.
Kurt, let me just mention to people that maybe that don't have a Mac,
Sure.
if you have your iPhone or your iPad, go to settings also, and you'll see the same settings there.
Same exact thing. It's exactly. Thank you, Brookie. I turned mine on. I just used the slider and turned it to the right, and it automatically went on. You may be added to a wait list. They may say there's a huge number of people that want to be involved in this, want to take part in this, and we will contact you when it's available. I've
Hey,
also
Kurt,
turned on.
Mine took about 5 minutes.
Really? Okay.
Mine took 5 minutes too.
I also turned on Siri because eventually I don't use AI with Siri now. I don't ask questions, hello Siri, what is whatever? What is a hypotenuse triangle? What's the capital of Sweden? I do ask Siri questions, but this is different. This is another deeper layer of Siri that is going to use AI. And it's pretty interesting. By default, they're going to delete Siri and the dictation history. They're going to delete that. It takes a Mac with at least an M1 processor. It takes an iPhone and an iPad with an Apple processor, a newer one, because AI takes a lot of your processor. These hamsters are running really, really fast, trying to answer your questions, and they're doing it on your machine now. It's a different level of what Siri used to be going through AI, and it's not perfected yet. But anyway, this is the box where you can turn it on, and like Brookie said, and Joe, you can turn it on your devices also if you want. I'm going to go over here. I was reading stuff today, and I thought this was kind of an interesting story. Life would be better if we added this line to every email. It may seem off-putting at first, but in time we'll all be thankful. And basically, it's from the CEO of Land O'Lakes, the big butter company. And she says, basically, don't write a novel in an email. Just put in the email, please don't write me a novel, I won't read it. In time, the novels will stop coming. So Brookie needs to put that in her emails that she gets from me. So I quit sending her. Anyway, I'm going to copy this. But this is an interesting article. I'm going to copy some of this. I'm going to highlight this. Go down. Okay, got it copied, or I've got it highlighted. I'm going to go up to edit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to copy. All righty then. Now I'm going to open Pages, and I believe this works with Word. I believe it works with other word processors. It works with Text Edit, which comes on the Mac. It's a real plain word processor, but I'm going to say New Document. This is Pages. I want a blank template. Me personally, I like to have a ruler. So I'm going to do a Command R. Command on the Mac is the same as Control on the Windows machine, but I'm going to do Command R. Okay, got my rulers. Now I'm going to paste. So paste it. Okay, it's in blah, 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 all this text. So I'm going to highlight this text in the document that I just pasted. Now I'm going to Control click on it. I'm going to hold down not the Command button, but the Control key on my keyboard. Hold down my Control key, and then I'm going to left click with I use a trackball, but the mouse, trackpad, same thing. I'm going to click. So I'm holding down Control. It's Control click. Writing tools. This is brand new. It will automatically proofread my document for me, no matter how many pages. It will rewrite it. I mean, this is going to be a boon for college students, hopefully not the ones that steal stuff from the internet. If you wanted to make it more friendly, jolly good. I really enjoyed seeing you in the supermarket. If you wanted to make it more professional, that was a very good note that you included in that document. Why am I speaking like an Italian or like a British? Okay. Make concise, you want to sum it. And then down here, there's also summarize. This is all new. This is all AI. Create key points, make a list, make a table. So you can do all of this, which was never there before in a word processing document. I'm going to say summarize. Okay, it summarized it over here, very short. Beth Ford, CEO of Land O'Lakes, advises against long emails, suggests including a request for brevity in the subject line. Blah, blah, that's all, this whole article. Now I can copy this, or I can replace what's on the screen by clicking on replace. So this is AI, the early stages of AI at work. I'm not doing this, I mean, I'm reaching out to Chat GPT, wherever their servers are, and it's doing this, and it's like magic. But I want to copy this right here. I'm going to say copy. And then, of course, you have to have someplace to paste it. So I'm on page 2 of my document. Let me click off of this. Here's my document. It's blank. Page 2. I'm going to paste it. Okay. It's in a different font. That's okay. I can change it. So in the old days, what I just did would have been monumental. If you would have told people in 1984 that I'm going to use artificial intelligence to summarize something that the CEO of Land O'Lakes said about long emails, they'd look at me funny. They'd tell me I'd need new glasses or whatever. And that's what I just did here. You can do this on any document, on taxes. You can do it on numbers, which is the Apple version of Excel. I think you can probably do it on Excel, but you have to highlight the text or the numbers first. Hold down your Control key and just left click, just click like you normally would on the text. go to writing tools. Okay. I wanted to see the writing tools. It can proofread it for me. It can rewrite it. And it does these other things, like I mentioned, a friendly pose, professional pose, and then key points list. Let me click on rewrite. And it's taking a while because it's fairly, and of course, AI is new, and it should be done in a second here. Okay. Okay, it rewrote it. Long emails are the worst, unless you absolutely need to send one. Instead of telling people, okay, her second sentence, and yet instead of telling people, it doesn't say and yet. It says instead of telling people. And then it adds to it. One CEO, Beth Ford, the chief executive of Land O'Lakes, has a simple solution. That's totally different from here. They rewrote it totally. Scroll down and you get the whole thing. So I can copy this and I can just paste over what's there. And I replaced it. Of course, I have to clean it up a bit. No big deal, just clean up the lines. But this is the rewrite version of it. Okay, bud, I hear you.
So I'd like to interject, just for
Yeah.
those of you that maybe don't have a Mac, this is still relevant to the iPad
Definitely.
and the iPhone. So Joe recently showed it on the iPhone, but we hopefully in our next sessions, we'll do some of this on the iPhone and possibly on the iPad.
But this is just this is the tip of the iceberg, isn't it? I mean, there's so much more you can do, and there's so much more coming. And this happens to be like a Pages document that comes on all built-in word processor, desktop publisher on all Apple products. In fact, I used to do the newsletter for CKCS in Pages. I don't use it anymore because I wanted to learn some other programs, but it's totally functional. It's amazing what you can do with Pages.
Kurt, another thing here is when you're doing that rewrite, one that I found very informative was go and use the concise. It would take
Yes,
your 50 lines and combine it down to 7 or 8. It
good
just
point.
catches the meat of the matter, and it's pretty helpful.
It's like the Cliff Notes version. It's
Yep.
when I was in school, what they used to call Cliff Notes. You say that to kids today, what's a Cliff Note? I don't want to go there. But it's amazing the stuff you can do. And this is just with a word processing document. And I just happened to, copy and paste this document right here, part of it. But there's so much more you can do with it. It goes on and on. I sent a whole bunch of documents to you. They talk about using it with photos, and it only does a little bit so far, but they're getting there. And Chat GPT, the company they use, is also, improving everything, and Apple is using their version. Here's the page that's included in the chat that you can download. This is how you get started with it. Talks about the devices that you can use. And then down here are the links that some of these links I included. Use Apple Intelligence in Photos.
Kurt, where was that? Where did you find that?
This document, it's in chat. And in Zoom, if you find the chat link and you click on it, you should see like 5 PDFs or something I put in there. But these links in there, Rita, since they're PDFs or they're links in a PDF, they should be hot. And it's just amazing already the stuff you can do there. So in photos, web page summaries, if you're on a long web page, you can actually get a summary of the web page. I mean, you don't have to copy and paste anything. It'll do the work for you. But that's in this link. Messages, somebody sends you a text and you want to use Apple Intelligence with it. There are a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of things you can do with that. It's amazing. Notifications, reduce interruptions with AI. Excuse me, speaking of interruptions. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. That's my pet cat, Thea. Anywho, that's what I have. And look up the documents, and if you're like me, you'll go, wow, the future is here, kind of. And it's getting closer every day. And 18.2 and 15.2, when they come out in early to mid-December, that will have even more Chat GPT built into that operating system. So we're at the very beginning. If you've ever seen anything in your life that's coming and you know it's going to be a big thing, I don't know what it is, but if you see, this is what it is. AI is one of those things. So anyway, thank you. I'll quit sharing if I can see through my cat. Excuse me, buddy.
Kurt, I have one question.
Sure.
Did you have to have Sequoia 15.1.1 to see that?
No, it
Because
comes.
I didn't see it, so I'm
Yeah,
uploading it, but
it just came with, I believe it was 15.1. I believe
okay.
it's not 1.1. 1.1 was a security thing. So no, that's, and I think it came with 15. I think it was 15.1, just like 18.1, right? Am I right? I think that point 1 was the
Point
beginning
one
of,
was, yeah, point one's what brought in some of the
okay,
AI.
Okay.
Yeah. So we might mention, it's kind of along the lines of what you were saying, Rita, in terms of the operating system. My iPad is generation 9, and it does not have Apple Intelligence. Okay, it's just not new enough. It doesn't have the right processors, so I will not have it. So when I go to settings, I won't see the artificial intelligence and Apple Intelligence, I should say, in Siri. So if you don't see it in your settings, you don't have it yet. Okay.
I'd
But
like to
is
say
there anything
something.
you can do to get it? Because I have, like on my phone, 18.1, and on my other computer, I have 15.1, which Joe made me do the right thing.
Okay, but
Yeah,
you
it
can
does
put
that, doesn't
the,
it?
Can you
can
go
put
to the
app.
Apple, Rita?
Rita, I want to ask you just a question about that. What version of your iPhone do you have? What is it?
14, iPhone
Joe?
14.
Won't
Was
work.
14 one that had the AI, or
I'll tell you,
No.
I think it had to be a 15
15 or
Pro.
more.
It had to be 15 Pro or higher.
Yeah.
Well, doggone it.
Yeah, I know. That's the
Well,
way my phone is okay. I have it on that, so that's fun. But on my iPad, I don't have it. I'll have to upgrade to a Pro or an Air to get
I
it.
do have a Pro 14, but I have to have a 15 Pro, right?
That's
What
correct.
It has to
about
be a 15
your
Pro.
Mac computer?
That's a
That's
Kurt
Kurt.
question.
You have to have a Mac with an M1 processor running Mac OS 15.1. If you have an Intel processor, it won't work. It's got to be, and if you go to the Apple menu and come down to about this Mac, Rita, it should tell you my chip, like on this Mac Mini, is an Apple M2 Pro chip. And if it says Intel, because it really takes a lot of processing power to do AI. And we're in the beginning stages, but that's why I have an iPad that won't load iOS 18 either, 18.1, because it's too old, just like Brookie's.
But actually, mine will load 18.1.
Really?
Yeah, my
But
Mac
it
is
will not. But it
loading
will not give
18.1.
me Apple Intelligence.
Okay, I see what you're
Okay.
saying.
So I've got the operating system, but I will not have that extra layer of Apple
Okay.
Intelligence.
Well, I haven't been able to even get mine to load 18.1.
get in.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Wow.
Well, mine's a iPad 9th generation. So, okay.
This is
So-
Donna, and I have something to say. You can get the Chat GPT app, and that can rewrite something. You can, ask it to rewrite your document or make it friendlier or more professional. So you have the ability to have that Chat GPT app on your phone or iPad. And apparently now Gemini also, which is a Google product, is available for Apple iOS. So it's doesn't do everything Apple Intelligence does, but it certainly can do the rewrites that we were being shown with the Mac. So
Thank you,
there are
Donna.
solutions.
Yeah,
Thank you,
you
Donna.
can get
That's
AI.
true.
It's just not integrated into, like Joe is
Right.
showing
Right.
in his Apple in his
Presentation.
iPhone class, how you could just erase a Coke can from the picture. and the Coke can was gone and the picture was still there. And so
What
it
did you
is.
say, what did you say for the Mac, for the laptop? What were the specifications you needed? A Mac, and an M2 I have.
Okay, hi Claudia. You also
Hi.
have to be running Mac OS 15.1, which is called
Oh.
Sequoia. If you're running before Sequoia, it doesn't support AI because that's when they integrated, that's the first iteration of integration with AI. Everything before that, it just doesn't have enough, it doesn't have the right operating system. You have to have it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You have to have the right operating system. You have to have an M1 Mac minimum to get it to work. And if you have those two things, the vestiges of AI, the early vestiges of AI, you'll be able to access them.
So we basically
Access.
we need to buy new devices.
That's a constant message from Apple.
Yeah.
Don't you want the latest stuff?
And that's from you're right. That's from everybody in technology. That's exactly right. And you're right about ChatGPT, Donna. You don't need to have the Apple version of it, but it's more deeply integrated into the operating system. And there are typically fewer steps than it does more. But this is all changing. What I said tonight might change by next week, as you know, because AI is really, really evolving. But it's kind of neat to be on the really leading edge sometimes of things like that. But thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Kurt? Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and it's the iPad, but the iPhone looks an awful lot like it also. So we will show you this. Okay. All right. I've got two monitors here, so I'm having to get it there. Okay.
You're good.
So here's my iPad. And what I'm talking about tonight is the new and improved control center. All right. So this is the control center that you get with iPad OS 18. And you don't have to have the latest iPad for this, but as long as you have the operating system 18, and we're at what, 18.1.1? Oh,
Yep.
okay.
That's
All right. So the control center for the newer iPads, and you would have to have that, I think, to see what this looks like, is that you take your finger at the top of your iPad, okay, and you will then just pull down, just part way down, okay, and when you do that, a screen like this comes up.
Oh.
And that is your control center. Okay. iPads have always had control centers as long as I've had an iPad. But this one is new and improved in the fact that you can customize it to meet your needs. You can get rid of some controls. You can add a million other controls that they never had before. And you can actually turn off your iPad. You can actually power it down. They've added this power button right here. See it in the top? That's new. So if you want to shut down your iPad, you just tap that, and then it will go to another screen where you can then swipe it and turn off your iPad. All right. The other thing that they've added here are these little icons here. See them on the right? Okay. This is your favorite page, and that's this page. If you have an extra page, it is there. Okay. I actually have the translate control over on this page. If I go down here and tap on the media page, that is where your music is, some streaming. You notice mine says iPad Zoom Thomas. Okay. Yours probably, Joe's, I know we talked about earlier today, is his hearing aids. Okay, and you all might have something else down there. All right, but this is where you can control your music. If I have Pandora up playing, I can control Pandora from here. I can play it, I can go forward, I can go backwards. So that is the media button. And then if you come down here to this button and tap it, then that is your network, your connectivity panel. And that's where you have airplane mode, Wi-Fi, AirDrop, Bluetooth, and your VPN. And if you've got a cellular iPad, then your cellular controls are there as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tap out of that. Actually, I really should have gone back just to the favorite. Okay, so that's kind of the standard control that we had before, control center. But here they've added this plus mark. And if you tap this plus mark, let me go back to that. Okay, when you tap that plus mark, then you have this screen here that allows you to customize your control center.
Oh,
So let's say you want your camera to be a little bit larger. You just
oh,
get a hold of this handle right here, and you'll just drag it with your finger and you can change the size of it.
oh,
Okay.
that's right.
Neat.
So you might want it a little bit larger. Okay, but let's say you want camera at the top, then you just put your finger on it and you're just going to move it to wherever you want it. So you can reorder your whole control center. Okay, so it's no longer in a standard place. Any questions about rearranging or changing the size? These two do not have that where you can change the size. So if you don't have a handle, you can't change the size. All right, so that is customizing it that way. And then they've added this down here, which is add a control. Okay, and this is where you get the whole gallery of all the controls that you could add. I have quite a few up. I don't use those, but I use them when I teach, so I have those up. But you can get rid of some of those controls and add more, and you can have multiple pages of controls if you want. So here are just some of the popular ones, but if you keep scrolling, they have categorized them to capture, which is your camera, a scan coder, and a magnifier, the clock, timer, and connectivity. That was that panel I showed you earlier. You can add and delete some of those. Display and brightness, focus. They've put the measure tool there as well. Notes and quick note. So they're all of these. There's this one. If you have Shazam, you will have this button that will help you recognize music. If you have something's playing and you want to know what it is, you can do that control. And then you also have the translate. So all you do is, I'm trying to see which controls I may not already have up. I don't think I have measure up. So I'm just going to go ahead and tap that. And then you notice it comes on to my control center. So that's how you add controls. And then of course, to delete them, you'll just tap the minus sign and it will delete it. Okay. Any question about the control center? The new and improved control center. In the past, we went to settings. There is no longer a place in settings called control center. So if you took one of my classes, you can't go there. You have to do it from the control center. And in the handout that I put on chat, it has that information. And then it also has screenshots of the gallery. Okay. So this is the gallery, and it tells you what the different controls are, because on your screen, it doesn't have the name, but if you want to know what it is, you can see it on the gallery. Okay, so that's Control Center. Any questions? I will stop sharing if I can find my stop sharing controls.
Brookie, is this one of the classes you're going to teach?
It will be part of my iPad class that is coming in the spring. So yeah, I have taught in the past. In the Control Center, I actually was a 2-hour workshop. So if you really get into the Control Center, there's a lot of things there, and they've added even more. In fact, I think with the newer iPads, you actually will have controls for third-party apps.
Mhm.
So that will be something innovative.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is Donna again. I want to share that I have the same control center on my iPhone. And I
Yes.
can be in the theater and just bring down the control center and touch focus, do not disturb. It's a really simple way that your phone won't ring when you're in the theater or at a concert or at a play. And then when you leave, you just bring down control center and touch the focus button and untouch do not disturb, and your phone is back where it can ring. But it's really convenient. So I'm not carrying my iPad in the theater, but the same issue with the control center works on the iPad, and it's wonderful. Simple way to keep
I
it
wish
quiet.
more, I wish more people knew that.
Well, you know, even in a class that you could tell them this is the way to turn your noisemakers off. I mean,
Exactly.
it's simple and it's so easy.
But very few people, I think, know that.
Oh, you're kidding. And then on my
Hey,
watch,
Kurt,
I
let's
have,
phrase that too. Very
Huh?
few people do that.
oh, okay.
That's true too.
All
Yep.
right. And then on my watch, I have that theater mode, and I just tap that watch. You know, I'm not sure if the phone stops the watch, so I always touch the theater, you know, the two little masks on the watch when I'm in the theater. Anyway, just something that I think is wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's good. When I go into Pilates, I always say, you know, I do the focus actually, and I say, you know, turn everything off until I leave this location. And then when I get in my car in the parking lot, it comes back on. You know, I receive.